of a plane taking off in a certain angle off. Like you have to take those types of things into consideration before we just shut him down like that, right? I just want to make sure we
No,
understand
no,
that.
I used what he used. It was nothing to do with the plane taking off. That had nothing to do with it. He made an argument and he made an example. So I corrected him and showed him where he was wrong in using that as an example.
Yeah, I could say something about the airplane thing with actually with Franco because they were asking if I would come back, and I had to make sure to go back and listen to what you were saying, Franco, about the atmosphere and the winds and all that. And it's funny because you started out, I think, just basically confirming what I was saying is that it's just a kinematic mathematical thing that you can just have the calculation that it corrects for it, and then you can just assume that the pilot's doing that, or that the autopilot or the atmosphere somehow just corrects the plane to be in tangential sync with the Earth when it has to travel to a higher to a place where the actual city it's landing in is moving faster than its conserved momentum. And just by minimizing it in your mind and saying, well, winds are going to affect it more because I've minimized it down to this, meters per second squared incremental shift that it would have to do. But because that shift, which actually adds up to 500 miles per hour difference, is going to be minimal to the winds, then we can just negate it and not worry about it. That's the difference between the kinematic concept, where you can just mathematically say it works, and the dynamics, where it doesn't work, because there would have to be an exact precision calculation of the plane actually making the movements to match those calculations. The plane would have to be in sync with the Earth so it can treat the runway as stationary. But that doesn't happen just by saying, oh, the winds are more, so we're not going to worry about it being 500 miles per hour faster where it has to land. You get that, Franco?
But no, I'm not. I'm not sure I got it because I still keep my position and say that the difference in velocity or in speed, whatever, in where you're on a rotating frame, when something is moving in that frame, you refer that to a stationary frame, because when you're talking about different tangential velocity, it means that those tangential velocity are with respect to a stationary frame. And then if you wanted to convert from what you measure on the rotating frame to what you refer to this, to what you measure in the stationary frame, this is just a mathematical concept. It's just a mathematical calculation, and you correct that with the Coriolis acceleration. So it's computable. It's exactly the same computation that you make when you say, I start at this tangential velocity, I arrive at that tangential velocity. There's a difference. If you take it into account step by step, as you're moving with a certain speed with respect to the with a certain velocity with respect to the rotating frame, the way to take into account this is precisely the Coriolis force, the Coriolis acceleration. And so you compute how much that is, and you see that it's really irrelevant because it's really tiny compared to the fact that the plane has to for one thing, it has to counteract the gravitational pull towards the Earth. That it has to correct for. And again, you mentioned conservation of momentum. The momentum of a plane is not conserved because it's not an isolated system. It has engines. It is propelled. It is in an external field of forces. So it's not a case where conservation of momentum applies.
Sorry. Yeah, but okay. So you just repeated what I said, which is it's just a mathematical thing. It doesn't have. You don't have to worry about the actual dynamics of the 500 mile per hour difference. That's ridiculous. Just because you can compare it to winds that might be stronger, or the fact that it's going to be just flying to this area where it needs all this extra acceleration, but it doesn't have any. You're not naming the mechanism. The other guy's just saying the atmosphere doesn't form, but then you're also talking about corrections. It has to be precise. The pilot needs to treat the runway as stationary, meaning it would have to be moving eastward tangentially in perfect sync with the Earth, which he would have to pay attention to, or it's going to crash land. And even if it could accelerate the extra 500 incrementally, or however you want to minimize it in your head, it's going to add up to 500 miles per hour difference. And it would have to continue accelerating sideways eastward with the Earth in perfect lockstep sync as it's
Yes,
going
I,
down to land and slowing to
yeah,
zero, but then moving sideways with the Earth at 500 miles per hour extra.
you
So it
make
doesn't
the
work.
computation. No, it does work. You make the
No.
computation. How much? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
How?
How do we have to sit down and make the calculations mathematically?
See, that's the
Again.
thing. It's mathematically you can put it down mathematically, but the
What
pilot would
you
have to
say?
be aware of
Okay.
those corrections. It can't
Yeah,
just be a
and
mathematical
correction.
problem that you say works and then have the pilot be inside
Corrections.
the plane treating it as stationary, but it's actually moving. That's dangerous, brother.
No, it's not. How do you say you're claiming the corrections are important, and how do you
Yeah.
estimate them? Because you only look at the difference between the initial tangential and the final. No, you're saying that you have to correct step by step while moving, and that is a mathematical calculation. I'm sorry, it is because you're using numbers yourself, and
Does the
numbers.
pilot do the mathematical calculation?
No, it doesn't. But
Oh, why
because
wouldn't he need to? He's the one flying the plane.
Do they tilt the nose down?
I'm
It's
saying that you know how much this correction is, and it's irrelevant. It's
Why is it
irrelevant.
irrelevant? It's 500 miles per hour difference. He would have to be moving
You
500 miles per hour
fucking
eastward
computed.
faster than where he started in
It's
perfect
two
sync. That's
times
not. It's not
near.
minimal. Just
Hold
because you
on,
can say
guys. I know
incrementally.
this is like get a little tense here, but just make sure that you allow each other to finish because we also want to hear the back and forth. Not all of us are privy to the knowledge that y'all got, especially some of the listeners. So we're trying to hear how this builds out. All right. So just give each other a chance to finish your thought. If you don't mind interjections, continue, but we do want to be able to hear the build. Okay. Appreciate y'all. Go ahead. And then we'll double to Gilly after this.
Yeah. Okay. So the pilot doesn't do the mathematical corrections. You just do it on your paper and say it works. The pilot would have to know what's happening to the minute detail. If the plane has to be moving 500 miles per hour faster eastward, tangentially with the Earth, the pilot would have to be aware of that. That's not just like, oh, we can just say it's minimal compared to the winds, so don't worry about it. That's ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous. I'm sorry. Then what is the point of us saying to each other, "This is ridiculous"? No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. What is the point?
The point is
The,
there has to be a mechanism for the plane to actually go faster eastward than where it started off with whatever conserved momentum it started off with.
there's no conserved momentum. There's no conserved momentum
Fine.
because we okay. You are using physics concepts, right? I'm sorry to appeal to authority, but I am a fucking physics teacher, and I know physics. I know this is
Perfect.
simple kinematics. This is simple dynamics 101 freshman physics. So I know what I'm talking about. So if you are on a rotating frame, the Earth is okay. You laugh about it. Okay, sorry.
I
can
didn't
I
laugh.
just interject for one second,
Wait,
real
hold
quick?
on. Wait, he's getting to the point. He was just about to explain how the plane is actually in sync with the Earth, 500 miles per hour faster, regardless if there's conserved momentum, but it's got
Hold
to
on, I
be in
need to
sync
break
with the
it.
Earth.
Hold on. So Franco has left the building.
Wow, he just took off, huh? Yeah, that's
It
what always
happens like that.
happens.
That's why
So
I try to moderate because I know like it gets a little
yeah,
tense sometimes.
He didn't have
But
it.
yeah, but I don't
There is no
understand.
answer.
Yeah,
So
but I think you give him too much respect. He doesn't give us no respect, man. You gotta listen to the other guy speaks, man. He's very condescending. He says a lot of underhanded comments. And I don't
well,
feel like we need to give these people respect. They don't add no value to nothing. Like
he might
that's
not
just
come
my
back, and
opinion. I
he's
could be
interesting to
wrong.
talk to because he is a physics guy, and there is no physics answer for this. He even said it himself. It's just a
Yeah, but
mathematical
that's the thing.
calculation.
He won't admit that though. He won't. He would
No,
never
he never
admit that.
will.
That's the problem with these
He
guys.
can't. Otherwise, his paradigm cracks, and that's why he left because he realized
So
there was no answer.
What
I'm
I
a
want.
little surprised. Just real quick, I'm a little surprised that he left only because we've had like more heated, polarizing back and forth than that. And he usually doesn't get triggered over a laughing emoji. I know I was laughing because he said he said, "Look, I know y'all
teacher.
so with y'all fallacies, and I don't care. I'm appealing to authority. I'm a fucking physicist." Like that shit was funny as hell. I ain't gonna
Right.
lie,
I know
Franco.
what
I
I'm
know you
saying, but I
listening
don't
to this.
even know what I'm saying, so I have to leave.
Oh no.
This
Shout out to
is the
Franco.
thing that I've answered.
Obviously, look, real quick, guys. You just gotta understand, like, you know, although you may not agree with Franco, he is part of the value in Flat Earth Fridays because you know he don't really frequent other spaces. It's not too many opportunities